Hi, everyone. I am Michelle Crapo, and I'm going to talk about some Hana output determinations that we had. When we got into Hana, we were all excited to use the new way of determining what screens and how we're going to go to our different printers. Then we found out the hard way that it wasn't going to work as it was configured. So this is supposed to help anyone who needs it on how to add a field to the output determination. And of course, I'm on premise. So first with the OPD, see, I don't really like slides. Okay, first, with the OPD. So here we were, and we were in billing documents, and the hardest thing we had is that we didn't have a sales office there. We had sales org, but not sales office. So we went ahead, added sales office, and then this is the test one, but different plants basically wanted their billing information to go to different printers. So somehow we had to make that work. One of the things we did was we used sales office, and it basically the plant went there. So the first thing we did is not that. Is looked at BRF Plus. In BRF Plus, all of your printing information is there, besides, of course, a nice framework. So this is our, oops, that one's ours. And really what you should do is copy it, put a Z on top of it. Back then we were going live, it was hectic, and I just plain didn't do it. So you can see in here that the main program is here. But what I want is, well, I should show you the function first, is this function. They're nicely split apart, and I wanted the printer function. And when I looked at it, I was like, oh, okay, well, that tells me a lot. It didn't. So then I opened it up further.
Michelle, we're just having some issues because you paused stream, because you minimized the window.
What window?
The window that you were in right before.
Oh, okay. So
if you would like to have the entire desktop shown, you can just or the window you're in, you just terminate the session that you're streaming right now that is paused currently, and then you just click it again, and then you will have the option of selecting the window you're showing it in right now.
Okay. So disconnect. Yes. There I am. Great. Great.
Perfect. 1 second. There we are. Thank you so much.
Oh, sorry. I'm talking away and you guys didn't see it. So anyways, this is for billing documents, the OPD, V3, blah, blah, blah. If you need to find a different one, you can just search. And I always search for the application name, sale, and search. Oh, I also put in object type. because if you don't, you're going to get a lot of hits. So search, and there you find it. Of course, that's not what I want. I want billing. So here's the billing.com. What else did I want to say? As it's going so slow. Okay. One of the things you want to make sure you do is click on the toolbox and make sure you're in expert mode. Otherwise, you won't be able to do what you need to. So what function we were doing, it nicely splits them out here, is we were doing the printer function. And so I opened that up and I saw, okay, this is interesting. If I need to, I can simulate here and continue. And it was RG, billing document, put type, and roll. Test. And that didn't give me anything. So I know something weird's going on. But anyways, we can look at this and there's all kinds of information you can get. You can get the simulation tests that generate code will actually generate a function module or a web service for you. And the code template just comes back with a full screen with what you can cut and paste into your code if you're doing some custom code. So looking through this, I needed to figure out what on earth it was doing. So the first thing I go to is the rules. And I see get application data, which is what I want. So what it's doing is it's looking up based upon that, does it have any data? If it does, then go ahead and compare it to the other things, the other data inside the table. So if you click on that, it will go deeper. And you can see that it's got a helper there. That's the helper class. We'll need that for later. And then it's looking at these parameters. And this is where it comes in that you might need something extra. So if I look at these parameters, when I did it, I didn't have a sales office. So what I have here is a dictionary name, and you're going to have fun going back and forth between this. So I've got my dictionary name, and it comes back with this. Well, you know what? That means I can't append directly, which not surprising because we're moving away from this editor. So I went ahead and opened up Eclipse. This right here is the actual name. This is anything you want, any name. And I'm doing it with adding a field, and then you can see VBRK is right there, and it links nicely because that's what we're working on. And so I'm grabbing the sales order, sales office. So then when I was done and I activated it, it got appended. It was a beautiful thing. So now I had my parameter, I had it appended to my structure. I just need to fill it. So I had to add a data element, and I added it under an element because it was only one field. And then by doing that, I was able to select it and to bind it to my my table. So that worked out really well, and I liked it. And what I did, all I did for the element is I put it in and I said, bind it to the data dictionary, and that was it. So it was, once I figured it out, it was fairly easy to add. Some things that you need to be aware of is like in the function, I was wondering how it knew what it did know. So in the function printer, and maybe it was here. Okay, then maybe it was under the rules. There is, right there. That's what I said we'd need in the future. There is a class name and there's the method. So I hopped on over to a very old version of SAP. And here, I'm looking at the class, and then this was the helper class, the get the data. So I'm getting my data, and I'm like, okay, how did that work? Because I didn't put anything in here. Well, it's because there's a move corresponding right there. I looked out, it was VBRK, it moved it directly to the parameter that it needed to be in. So that worked out well. I was happy with that. The other thing I noticed, let's see if I got my other screen up. Is on the output request. So if you go back to that main class, it's actually, you can get to the business object. And the business object is the output request. Now this is for all of your output. What's cool is you can set breakpoints in here and figure things out too. So it was kind of nice to use. You could look through all the actions to see what was going on. And there's the class. And the parameters look like this. So it took a little bit looking through this and figuring out that the parameters just go to this general table, name kind value. That made sense because it could do it dynamically at that point. And then, like I said, setting breakpoints really helped as well. Go back to my presentation for a second. This is showing the BRF plus. This is adding the field. Oh, I also have an enhancement to move the plant to the sales office, and that was done with an enhancement implementation. And we can go look at that too. What did I call it? Of course, we can't find it because that would be too easy. Mhm. Within the enhancement implementation, it's not so cool. I mean, all I did was one line, and that's to move our custom field to the actual field. And like I said, we did that just from the sales, and I'm staying within GUI just because it's quicker. I mean, you can see it in the other places too, in the Fiori tiles. Sorry. So if you go to the order and you look at it, it takes whatever was in the plant right here, and it puts it into the sales office. Sales office was right here that I moved off of. Only one plant is on one sales order ever. It might change for you. So that and the structure. Okay, the other thing that's nice, very nice about this is that it's just about every place inside the structure you could test. So like I was showing, you could test here. Okay. Just showing the simulation. And you can test up. The one I used the most was the function for the output type. And I did a lot of them. I did a lot of simulations here. Document ID. And if I found the document ID, which I probably shouldn't, I'd execute it and you would see the result there. And that's it's really nice. That's a very, very nice feature. What other tools do they have? Then after I got everything done, I went back to the OPD. And here I can do a simulation as well. And I mean, it's easy to look at this, and you want billing that F2, either 1,000 or 2,000, one of our plants in RG. And everything before the green, that's what you put in. The green is actually what comes out. So you start the simulation and continue. G. No, F2. Sorry. Billing document. Yep. RG. Sales office, we'll say 1,000. And sales org is actually our plant. Could execute it, and it should have came back with. Okay, let me look down at those. Evidently, I picked a bad. Yeah, I did. I picked a bad. Okay, so it did what it was supposed to and didn't find anything. So now I can execute it. Oh, and it comes back with a printer. So that means it worked. It found everything. But what's really nice is you can execute it with processing steps. So if you execute it with processing steps, you can see the actual evaluation it does. So it looks at row 1 and it says it's not equal. As soon as it says it's not equal, it's done. Row is skipped. So this thing is going through row by row to determine what the answer is, and it goes really, really fast. I mean, it does it for even ours that have over 200 to 500. It zips right through them. Now, what else was I going to show you? Okay, the other big thing that I wanted to talk and touch base on a little bit is this table right here. We allow just one of our users to make changes to it. I also can make changes to it. But we've had problems before where stuff has gone to the wrong printer, which is really bad when it's billing, and things like that. So, and the reason was because the entries were wrong. So what is now kind of a standard operation procedure is we export it to Excel before we do a thing, even something as small as this, just so you know where you started. And then after that, you can go ahead and make your changes. Now, like I said, we allowed them to make their changes on production as well as development because we didn't really want to keep sending the data over every time they had a change. And, you know, maybe not this one. This one, we don't change plans very often. But there's some other things in here where they were changing it a lot. And we didn't want them to be able to mess anything up. Okay, so let me see. Get rid of this. And go to the workbench. So basically, I think you have enough to get a new field put on via the business rule framework. The other thing that I found really interesting about this is the option to use it for just about anything. So all those tables that you had, the custom tables, where you were trying to match things up and you were doing it all manually, you could get rid of them. And you could just do it by this function type. So how can you do it? It's really simple. It goes, you create the template. So that's what I did. I mean, you don't have to create the template. You can do a function module. But I created the template with all of the information I needed, and it comes back and tells you exactly what you have to put in there. And then in a custom program, we'll go back. I wanted. There. In a custom program, like we have this because we wanted to be able to use our structure and all of our data within the table, we didn't want to have to update it more than once. So this is for customer statements, obviously. I didn't use billing, I don't think. Maybe I did. So we got the data, process the customers. You know what? I think I had it in an include. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what did I want to do? Interestingly, if you keep that time, you want to keep the timestamp the same, so it's used throughout all. So like if you're looking for more than just the printer, you should leave that timestamp alone. Okay, so we can't see it. That's why I moved it into a class. Within this class, there's a form, and it is based on billing document, and this is for customer statements. For customer statements, we have either printer or email, and we had a whole lot of email addresses. So that's why they didn't want to keep them for two different input areas. They only wanted to do it once. So that's the reason why we went ahead and put the code in. And you're seeing some hard-coded variables and the exact same thing I needed with a different customer. So I'm setting my value for the form, the role, and the customer. And I'm determining which way it's going to print. Is it going to print or is it going to be emailed? And once I know that, then I'm going to set up for the printer. And again, don't change the time on this. Leave the time the same. So like determine printers here, and I'm not changing the time. I'm just setting up an instance and calling the process for it. And like I said, so easy to code this. Because that's the code. There's no magic in it. So this is the code for that function. Really what you have to do is you have to call the highest level first and then go down to the function level. So I would usually call maybe I called that. First thing I did okay. Well, since I was only using the printer, it looks like I didn't have to call at multiple layers. I do have a program out there somewhere where I'm calling at multiple layers, and you have to start at the top and go to the bottom. And that's how you get the information that you need. We did, in fact, do a change to the CL that. We changed it so that we could allow people to make the changes on production. And this is for everything. So once you make a change to that class is going to hit all your printing, all of your email, whatever you use it for. And so it's kind of a good thing to know that, kind of a bad thing because, you know, it's so powerful. So that we did. I believe you can see it in here. No, I'm not finding it. I didn't really mean to look for that today. So you can see it in here. There's an exit. It's in one of these layers. Honestly, right now, I'm drawing a blank. So I believe it was at the top layer because the exit was for CL APAC BRF settings. There are a lot of options in here that you can do. The expert mode really gives you a wide variety of things. And again, this is probably just like setting your editor up. You can set up all of this. And hotkeys. Okay. See what else? Yeah, like I was saying, test at the layers. And then a step deeper, and I put you in the business object builder. That was the download. So I got through my slides, but of course this is way too fun to just leave, right? So let's see what else I can find for. Here's my custom. Here's my request. And what's nice on this is it gives you all the program names. I really like it. It's a quick way to find things out. And you'll notice I'm doing this all on the GUI. That's because I find this easier to do on the GUI than in Eclipse. However, yeah, eventually I'll move all to Eclipse. How did I find this? I found this view. Remember, this is the one for the parameters. It's simply by a lookup. Now, there are other people that don't like using this. I like it just because it gives me a big overview of it. But some friends of mine would rather do the search by doing a right click. So eventually I'll come back and it will say where the billing document is. And so then you can double click it and open it up. And that will give you some of the information that you need. Now, what's interesting is it's a CDS view, and so it's pretty layered. You can see the different layers in it. Here it is. No, I would have, it doesn't matter, I don't think. Wow. Yeah, my Eclipse isn't moving very fast. Okay. Oh.
That's okay, Michelle. You're way ahead of schedule anyway, so you're all good.
Okay, good. I I'm like, why the heck is this not working? Dang it. Okay. I love doing live demos anyways.
Well, that shows your mood is amazing.
Okay, so I navigated to it because I forgot somehow my Eclipse isn't working very quickly. It's kind of stalled. So I navigated to it, and I can see. I also was asked why I didn't use the extension, and I just found it easier to do it the way that I did. But some people use the extension too, and you can tell it is layered. And I'm going to do this again because it's slow. There we go. There's my my nice information. So it's showing me how it's all linked together. The item, the partner, the pricing canceled. And you can see what was pulled. You can see how it's associated. And it helps you determine where you want to put your extension in. So, I could have put it probably, I wouldn't want to put it anywhere, but I might have. I might have wanted to put it in a different place. So I'm going to navigate to the item. And it shows you that it's still got a lot of associations. This is just amazing to me because what it is CDS piled on CDS piled on CDS. And if you came from an ABAP side like me, obviously, because I'm going back and forth between Eclipse and SE38, and I'm actually going to the really old transactions. So this has a bunch of information and it stacks. So it's just a different way of looking at things. And because of that, things like the BRF kind of look weird to you or to me. They may not look weird to you. So if I go back there, maybe go back to the BRF that's not there. That's where you can see where it all kind of pulls together. I mean, I liked looking at it because I like digging into things and seeing what happens and where they're at. So BRF plus. Okay, where are you? There. It opens it in your browser. So then you can really start seeing, okay, it started here, it went there, and I'm going to use the CDS views to see where it's pulling things from. And what's amazing to me is there's only one rule, get application data, and that's basically because it's going off of the table. It's not doing anything here except for a table match. I believe that's about it. Do I have any questions?
No, I don't actually think we have any questions.
Bonus.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good thing. See how quick I talk through these? I've got to remember to make them shorter.
No, this was wonderful. I'd like to just mention that at presently we have 5 people in the raffle, and if you would like your chance to win the prize, let your name be heard in the comments. Right. Yeah, we're just gonna wait because there is some delay on the broadcasting. So
That makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Great. So with this, I think I will be sharing my screen.
Okay.
And let's see if I have something here. Go.
Drum
And
roll.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sorry.
All right. No, it is quite exciting. With only 5 people in the raffle, it makes total sense that there's actually a decent chance for anyone to win here. So let's see here. Great. I'm just making sure there are no extra names. Great. So we will click to spin.
Ooh.
First, you are the lucky winner. Congratulations. Oh, Harold, I'm so sorry. You just missed it. I apologize for that. Great. So thank you everybody so much for joining this session. I'd like to thank you, Michelle. This was a wonderful presentation. It really gave a really nice overview. Great. And Horst, if you connected to the Discord, let us know in there.